We were up in the Sikadak area back at the beginning of April to do a test drive event there. And that was part of the Upper Skeena Empowered Energy Forum. So I took a standard range Ford Lightning from, I guess, Burnaby, where I picked it up. This was a rental through a fleet rental company, and went up to northern BC. All chargers worked. Everything was fairly enjoyable on that trip. And coming up, we've got the Dawson Creek Summer Cruise. This is put on by the Mile Zero Cruisers Car Club in Dawson Creek, a huge car show where they shut down, downtown of the city of Dawson Creek. That is going to be July 14th, 2024. We've got our own F-150 Lightning for that. We've got a Rivian. Someone with an Ioniq 5 is going to be joining us. We may have a Volvo demo vehicle for that one. And then I believe the Prince George Electric Vehicle Association might be wrangling up some more vehicles to come join us for the Electric Avenue portion of that show. So with those updates out of the way, I want to turn it over to our guest presentation today, Factor E-Motors, and I see we've got Sean on the line here. Yep, there he is.
Okay, is somebody okay to go then, Michael?
Absolutely.
Awesome. Well, first off, thank you for inviting us. Brent's busy working in the shop, so I apologize that he couldn't join us, but thank you for having us. We're always looking to get involved in any kind of EV activities with whatever group. So thank you very much for having us. With that said, let me just explain a little bit about Factory Motors and what we are and what we're trying to do. Basically, we are the original Tesla service parts and delivery crew from the early 2012 days. All five of us started this. All five of the owners that are in this business, we all worked together at Tesla for many years. And most of us retired, semi-retired in 22. And then we opened this business just over a year ago last week to start this business. And really what Factory Motors is, and I'll just advance ahead here. Really what Factory Motors is all about is if we're going down this EV adoption route, and in our minds, that's not an if thing, it's just a when thing. Like we're 100% bought into EVs, and obviously because of our Tesla background, we're even more bought into Tesla service. Basically, what we're trying to provide is we'd like to be the first independent aftermarket service, parts, and what we call certified pre-owned dealer network in the marketplace. And really what our logic is very simple. If you look into the ICE world of past, there is all kinds of service, parts, and CPO, or used car option, if you will, available to consumers. There's a multi-layer capability. But when you're in the Tesla EV space in particular, really Tesla is the only provider. And given that we had sort of, not inside knowledge, but an inside view of the Tesla service network, we realized there were significant limitations to what Tesla could provide versus what a traditional aftermarket, independent aftermarket group would provide. So as the five of us as owners, we spent about a year working on the business plan, found a location here in East Vancouver, just off of Clark and Venables area, and opened the very first location just over a year ago. And we're very overwhelmed with the level of support and growth and of what's happened to our business so far. So let me just kind of explain from a super high level what our thought is and strategy. And it's really simple. Is currently on the west coast of North America, so that's basically from British Columbia down to California, there's 2.1 million, an estimated 2.1 million total vehicles in operation from Tesla that are out of warranty and looking for service options. And so we see this market as a huge potential for independents and aftermarket and entrepreneurs. And really, we want to go to serve this market. We're quite aware of what's required to serve this market, but we see it as a huge opportunity, and we don't see it as a market that even just ourselves could satisfy. Like we see it as there's going to be an aftermarket for these Tesla vehicles, and then later we'll see it for Rivian and Lucid and other EV players as they start to grow in volume. But there's this large amount of vehicles, in Tesla's case, 2.1 million, they're looking for service, and we would like to be an option for them. And what we're really trying to provide for them is a one-stop shop. So we want to be able to leverage our service expertise, which is our intellectual capital. Is we have some of the best technical people, and I'll explain that in a minute, to do servicing these vehicles independent of Tesla. We have the ability to source parts from the same suppliers as Tesla has, and we also have the ability to provide a customer a qualified, what we call a certified pre-owned vehicle with a third-party warranty, and then we can back it up with the level of service that we can offer here. And really what we're trying to provide is that one-stop shop as an option for customers who may not want to buy a brand new Tesla, who may not want to go to Tesla per se, but would like an option. And we, given our size and scale, feel we can service the market in a different way from Tesla. And really, we're operating more from a traditional model of service. We typically book out 1 or 2 days in advance. Cars come in quite quickly, they get serviced and go out. We don't have that 2 to 3 week wait that you might experience at a local Tesla service facility. But we also operate a little bit of a different approach. We very much would like to see our customers and talk to them on the phone, have them come in the shop and meet the technicians. We have a very open shop policy, and we like to think very friendly. And one of the things that we're most proud about right now is we just hit our 88 5-star review on Google. So like we do quite a bit to engage with the community. And that's another area that we can be a little bit different from Tesla, is because we're a small entity. We're very engaged here in Vancouver, like with Viva and some of the car clubs and the owners groups and those sorts of things. And in your group here, we're very honored for you guys to ask us to come and talk. We love talking at a grassroots level and talking to people in the EV industry. So that's a little bit about our business model. And stop me anytime you guys have any questions if you'd like to ask. Whenever you have a question, please let me know. So who are we? Unfortunately, Brent couldn't join us this afternoon, but Brent and Jeff are the two technical leads that we have at the top as co-owners. Brent is probably the smartest technical person that I've ever come across. He was the very first technician for Tesla in Western Canada. He won the Worldwide Tesla Tech Awards twice, and then Jeff won the year after that. And then they both got kicked out and were never invited back because they wanted somebody else to win. And we kind of joke about that, but those two gentlemen there are probably the brightest technical people that I've ever had the chance to work with. And so we have those two gentlemen on the background, and you have myself. I'm more of the business person behind the group, if you will. I used to be a regional manager for Tesla and Honda Canada before that, so I'm more on the business side. But we also have two other owners, Andre, Master Tech from Tesla, who's really our IT specialist, anything software related on the vehicles. He's just a near genius at some of the things he does. And then Alvin is another co-owner. Alvin is our master tech, but he's also the lead tech for doing any high voltage battery repair. And you can actually see in the picture, he's just finishing a high voltage battery repair job as we speak. And so we have a bit of an advantage in our business model. Outside of Tesla, we feel we have collected the best available talent for repairing and servicing Teslas. And we do our very best to let everyone know that this is who we are, and this is why we could service your Tesla better than probably almost anyone. And in some cases, we feel better than Tesla. So it gives us a huge advantage in our business model. To give you an idea of what we do, I mentioned earlier that we do service, but inside that service realm, there's many opportunities of things that we can do different from Tesla and do it at a better price point or a better timeline. And sometimes even a better quality repair. Really, we would like to provide our customers options of how they'd like to have things fixed and, how the process goes. Basically, from a high level, we have access to Tesla OEM parts. We have access to Tesla aftermarket parts from similar suppliers. We also have access, in some cases, a recycled part actually makes a lot of sense. So we can give those customers options that Tesla typically won't. We also offer typically like a 15% labor discount over Tesla's posted rates. But the bigger and better thing that we have come to find over this last year, a lot of our customers are very engaged in the Tesla community and they want to come and meet their technician. So we have a very open shop policy where you can bring your car in and come and meet the tech. So you can talk to them right in the service bay. We actually encourage that. So a lot of our customers know the five gentlemen there, and they've been into the shop to meet the technicians, and it's a bit more of a community experience that we provide. And really, what we're trying to provide is an old-fashioned Tesla or a technical service where you know the people working on your car and you have a bit of a relationship with us, and it seems to be a winning formula for us. As I mentioned earlier, we also have that technical knowledge that we feel is our key. And then, as I mentioned a little bit, we're really engaged in the local community. We're at most EV events in the Vancouver area, and do our very best to support other ones. So really what we feel we provide as a one-stop shop is the best Tesla option service outside of Tesla, parts options and price point options. And then when you get in the certified pre-owned, we're just getting into that market as we speak. We feel we can offer a car that we can stand behind with service, unlike any other in the marketplace, including Tesla, because they don't really do certified pre-owned. They're too busy selling their new cars. So we see a huge opportunity for ourselves there. And at the last part of it all is everything that we do will maintain your Tesla warranty, or in our case, our ability to fix your car right the first time, which is still a very big issue with Tesla. We feel we can offer that to the community in the marketplace. I just wanted to share a video of kind of what we're on about, just sort of our daily operations. And then just a little background. So we've created this menu board based off of Tesla's required maintenance, and it's kind of funny. Most EV owners don't realize that they do need maintenance, and the maintenance is there for some obvious reasons. But these are some of the maintenance services that we provide, like alignments, brake servicing, suspension retorque, tire rotation is a big one for the EV world. AC still requires service. There's coolant in your batteries that need to be replaced, and tires, but we pretty much can do any repair for a Tesla except for body shop stuff. And we even do ICBC class and those sorts of things. So there's quite a bit of maintenance and there's quite a bit of repair in that network. And it's quite interesting because people discover that their cars aren't maintenance free. So we just like to joke around and say, hey, it's true. Your Tesla does need regular maintenance, as does every other EV. So just a list of some of the services that we provide. And then the big one that we're focused on in our growth, the big two things that we're focused on in our growth is certified pre-owned. And I think certified pre-owned is a huge opportunity in getting EV adoption. Currently in the North American market space, EVs are quite expensive, but if we can offer a certified pre-owned with a third-party warranty at a reasonable price point, and I have one that we have here is 2019 Model 3 in great condition, it allows us to attract a different type of buyer into the marketplace. And that's where we see the opportunity right now. There's a lot of people just want EVs, but they just can't afford the sticker shock of 50, 60, $70,000. So what we want to be able to provide is much more of a reasonable price point, a good quality car, and then a warranty to back up the customer in case anything does go wrong. Especially if there's ever a battery failure, I think that's the big fear factor. And so we want to be able to provide this. And Tesla has done this over the years, occasionally been in the certified pre-owned market, but they can't do it now because they lack the physical space to do these sorts of things. So we really want to get into this market in a big way. We're a small company with limited resources, but our plan is to really grow our certified pre-owned option and really develop it, because there's in our opinion, a huge gap in the marketplace for this. And then I'll just go one more slide and I'll stop and see if there's any questions. The other area that we're growing our business is Tesla aftermarket parts distribution backed by us. We're just in the early days of this, but our plan is also to build a bit of a dealer network on the West Coast of North America from California up. We have a lot of part suppliers that we have found that are also the Tesla part suppliers, but we're buying from them direct. And the plan for us is to, over the summer, accumulate a rather large inventory of parts. And then our intention is actually to start taking on independent shops that would also like to service Teslas on the West Coast. And what we're going to provide them is access to parts, Tesla technical training, Tesla technical support. The big challenge with EVs, where most car company or car repair places can't handle Teslas, is on the software side and all those sorts of things. But we have the technical capability and the technology to support shops remotely with that. Technical tooling, we have all of what's required for a shop to get into that. And then finally, business intelligence tools if they want to get into the EV space. There is a huge hesitation in the aftermarket repair business, if you will, of getting into the EV space. And our goal is to find willing participants that own existing shops or want to open a shop and make them a factory dealer and support them in the EV space, because our view of EVs is basically the market is in its infancy still. We're only past the early adopter stage. There is still mass adoption to come, which we believe will happen with better price points. And as manufacturers offer more price sensitive vehicles to the marketplace, we expect that market to grow. And we just want to be a part of what we see as, a large opportunity and space. And so those are two big things for our next step: is the certified pre-owned business and the parts distribution business. And I'll just end it there. And here's just a screenshot of what our facility currently looks like. We have 11,000 square foot facility with 5 bays. We have all the tooling capabilities that we need to do any Tesla type of work. And we're quite proud of our facility. And I've always extended anyone to the group, if you'd like to come down for a tour, just come down anytime during the week and we'd be happy to give you a tour. And yeah, that's pretty much it. So I'm just going to stop sharing my screen and see if there's any questions, comments, and those sorts of things.
I saw there was a question from Richard. Just wanted to clarify how long that warranty was for.
Oh, so on the CPO warranties, you can get them in varying lengths. Some are 1 year, 3 year, 5 year, depending on the age of the vehicle, sort of thing. So there's different options. Obviously, the price goes up with whichever option you choose, but there are third-party warranty players that will provide that for us. So it's a really good thing to take advantage of.
So I was wondering, you said about 2.1 million Teslas. What are the boundaries for the area?
So if you take California and Arizona, Oregon, Washington, Idaho, Montana, and British Columbia, that is the 2.1 vehicles, total vehicles in operation are out of warranty now for Tesla in that market space. Because a lot of people forget that most Teslas are still in California, and that trail comes all the way up to us. Those are the best markets for Tesla by far. And I think last time I checked, Vancouver is the number 5 market per capita in the North American space. Like, we live in one of the, I'm sure everyone knows that, but we're in one of the best Tesla markets in North America here.
Do you know the numbers specific to BC?
Yes. So BC is sitting on, last time I saw Polk data, it was sitting on about 65-ish to 68,000 vehicles. They're basically adding 2,000 to 3,000 every quarter into BC. But the interesting point is the very first big quarter for Tesla where they sold Model 3s was June 2019. And so our expectation based on those numbers, there's between 2,500 and 2,700 Teslas coming out of warranty every 90 days. And that's why, like, for us in this market, we're in the early stages. All the Model 3s are starting to come out of warranty now. And so that market is just going to keep growing as we, as we go forward. And I mean, despite what media says, Tesla still sells quite a few vehicles in the marketplace, and there's still EVs being sold. And we're not really worried about whatever blip we happen to be in right now. So,
will you be repairing other makes, not only Teslas?
If they achieve a certain volume level, we would do it. The issue really is tooling up for those brands. So, like, if we took on, like, say, Rivian, for example, we'd have to get all their tooling, which off the top of my head is probably a $20,000 expense. It's just there's not enough Rivians outside of warranty to justify it. But if some other brand broke through, we would definitely consider it, because there's a lot of commonality between the two, right? So it's just Tesla's the only one with volume right now. And that's kind of where we came from. So it's kind of our expertise.
So Napa Parts have been getting themselves electric certified, and some or all of their independent dealerships, service centers associated with them have been doing the same. Is there an opportunity? Have you looked into working with Napa to expand factory that way?
Not specifically, but we'd be open to it because the Napa program, which I actually know really well, they do a really good job with training. Is a little more geared towards hybrids, and so they're into that world. But we would definitely be interested in any kind of partnership with them because, I mean, the opportunity is huge. They're not really stocking any Tesla components yet. Most of what they have is hybrid, and I mean that's where that market is right now. There's a huge amount of warranty hybrids, which they're focused on. But yeah, we're totally open to it if that's possible.
They have been repairing Teslas, but Tesla has been resistant on doing that.
Well, 100%. That's actually the best part of this story is Tesla has zero support for anyone in the aftermarket, including ourselves. Like we built this on our own. We just knew what was required. The only thing that they provide the aftermarket due to what's it called, right to repair legislation is they have to provide their software access and a few other bits and pieces of tooling. That's all that they've provided so far. But this is a bit of our dream one day, but we hope to get certified by them down the road because we could actually take a lot of pressure off their existing business model, right? And no, I hope one day they would see us as a support, not as a threat, but we're not sure if that's ever going to happen.
Sean, where are your aftermarket parts come from right now?
So we have a mix of suppliers. Bulk of them are still coming from China. That's where most of Tesla's suppliers are coming from. But there's some coming from US, some coming from other Asian countries. But I would say 75%, somewhere in that range, 80 is from China.
I had a couple of questions. One is you were mentioning that down the line, one of the things that you wanted to do was essentially train up other shops so that they could start expanding out that way.
Mm-hmm.
I'm curious as to, have you already been having conversations on what written down lessons would look like?
We have actually. Our plan is basically to take shops on and provide them both online, but training. But and there's lots of online resources, including Tesla actually has some available. But the meat and potatoes of it, what we really want to do is either in shop training or come to our shop so they can work alongside our crew. Because the only really big difference between Tesla and ICE vehicles is the firmware and software component, and doing the interaction with that is the only kind of major change. And that stuff requires a bit of time and getting people orientated to some of Tesla's, what's the right word for this? Just weird naming and nomenclature. They bury stuff in these little articles, and you need even the ability to search their articles is a bit of an art. So just getting people orientated to the way Tesla does business, because they don't follow the traditional diagnostic chain that ICE vehicles would have and hybrid vehicles would have. Tesla has their own system, and just once you get your technician orientated to that, then it becomes more nuts and bolts and more straightforward stuff. But our biggest capability is helping train the software. And the nice thing is Tesla has given their customers control over their data. So a customer can allow us to remote into their vehicle and have the same level of support that Tesla manufacturing would have. So we can do a lot of that stuff remotely. But the bulk of our training would actually be either in that client shop, or they would come to our shop if they're, within a reasonable distance type of thing. Because you need to have someone next to you at least for the first 2 weeks and get you orientated. Even tire replacements. Last December, I was driving a car that we bought in the auction from Winnipeg back to Vancouver. I got a flat tire in Revelstoke, and the answer that I got is, maybe I can get you a tire in 3 days. And I don't know how to lift the car. I actually had to show the guy how to lift the car. Like that in Vancouver, I think we have reasonable service, but as soon as you get into smaller communities, it's not there. And if you're going to get EV adoption at a high level, you need to have the same level of service that ICE has today. And I mean, you probably get your Honda Civic fixed just about anywhere, but you cannot get your Tesla or any other EV fixed outside of whatever predetermined network the manufacturer might have. And that's why we see this as an opportunity. And also, at the right price point. There is in our opinion, there's a huge demand for that under $30,000 marketplace, right? And I think you look at Chinese EVs that are now in the marketplace everywhere, they're starting to dominate those markets. Like the demand is there. We got to get to the right price point and the right service level.
Have you interacted at all with the, I believe, 5 colleges in BC that is already doing electric vehicle mechanics training?
Yes, we have. Brent actually came from BCIT. Before we started this business, Brent took a semi-retirement job as an automotive instructor at BCIT. So we have a pretty good line into BCIT and what they're offering in EV training and all sorts of things. So that's why we're pretty confident on the training side for us, because Brent has the curriculum and the training and support. And we have a pretty good idea what they're up to. Of their nature, they're not specific to Tesla at this time. They have to teach the entire curriculum, but they've come a long way. Like they have a pretty good program, right? So that's also going to help as well. And they're also hosting, Tesla has an apprentice start program. BCIT puts that program on as well, where they're taking people with very limited background and training them through over a 4-year apprenticeship type of thing. So we're aware of that and what curriculums are out there as well.
We've talked a lot about, I guess, things that are maybe thought of more mundane repairs, tires, and alignments, and that sort of thing. But I've watched, your videos and searched around your website and understand that, you've done battery refurbish jobs, that sort of thing.
Yes.
What is the most extreme or involved repair job that you've worked on?
I think doing the high voltage battery repair, it's an interesting one because that's where the fear factor is. And right now because we're only focused out of warranty, because Tesla still looks after obviously the in-warranty stuff, but the older Model S's are, I wouldn't say chronic, but there's probably about a 2% fail rate in their batteries that we're aware of. And basically what it is, it comes down to this. Most consumers are afraid that their battery capacity is going to become an issue. And everyone focuses on what percentage of range and capacity they have and those sorts of things. And it's not necessarily an issue in the Tesla world for a couple of reasons. First off, Tesla just released a study last year where they showed at 200,000 miles, their battery cells retain 87% of their capacity. And at 200,000 miles, that 87, it's pretty good. The next thing people always do is they compare their battery to their iPhone or Samsung phone. And what they forget is on EVs, there's actually a thermal or cooling system to keep the batteries cool. And that gives it a lot more longevity. The real issue with batteries is actually really simple, is their electronic components fail. And by that, I mean the circuit boards, the wiring they have internally, or this is a very common issue, is they get water inside the pack. The pack is supposed to be sealed and keep water out, but over time it lets water in. All of those things can be rebuilt. And so if you're in this Model S, this is very specific to the Model S situation. If you go to Tesla, they're going to quote you somewhere between $25,000 and $27,000 to put in a battery in your Model S, your older Model S. We can do it in-house for $10,000 to $12,000. Number one, because our guys were trained by the factory to do it. But number two, we don't ship the battery back and forth between the US and Canada, so we save a lot of shipping money. And number three, we can just repair what's required. We don't have to put in new cells. And what people also don't realize is when you get that $25,000 to $27,000 battery, Tesla's not replacing the cells. They're reusing them over and over again and stuff like that, because the cells aren't the issue. And so the battery one's the big one because everyone's afraid of it. We're not per se. And then the other good news for EV owners is if you look at the Model X, it's significantly better in the battery technology than the S, because it was the next model out. But the 3 and the Y, it's very rare that you see battery failures. We see the componentry around it, but not the battery failure. So that fail rate's probably, my best guess is the fail rate's less than a half a percentage point in those 3 and Y vehicles. And as we go forward, I would expect it to get even better. And yeah, so to answer your question, a high voltage battery is probably our biggest, most intricate one.
Is there a particular kind of like low-hanging fruit repair or upgrade that makes a big improvement to older Teslas that people should know about?
I would say that the one low-hanging fruit that most people are aware of is most EVs have a really good regenerative braking system, which means obviously the drive motor is going to be braking you, and obviously recycling that energy. Customers that are very good at using regen as opposed to their hydraulic brakes run into an issue where the hydraulic brake calipers start to seize up because you're not using them as often. And Tesla recommends in northern climates that you do a brake service once per year. It's about $142 plus tax to do it, but it's the one service that we recommend you do because it's obviously a safety thing, but it's the weird sort of byproduct of not using your brakes is you should actually every year get the calipers cleaned up and lubricated. And then we also, obviously we have the wheels off, so we do a no charge tire rotation. That's the other big one. EVs are heavy vehicles. They tend to go through tires quite quickly. So like those are the most common things, but that brake service, very few people think about that. And it's, when you need your brakes, you need your brakes, and it's something you should really consider on all EVs because it's a very common thing that gets overlooked.
Right on. Thank you. I just want to see from the rest of the group if there's any questions for Sean here.
Our position on software, we know quite a few people that hack into Tesla software, like just generally speaking, and we highly recommend that you don't do that because number one, Tesla will see it. Number two, they will brick your car. Or number three, in some extreme cases, there's a company in Quebec that was offering acceleration boosts. And Tesla realized that and saw the data, voided the customer's warranties because you're operating outside the parameters. And then to make it a very Tesla-esque situation, decided to offer their own version so they could make money at it and turned it into their own little business. And that's truly Tesla in a nutshell, if you will. And yeah, anyways, we just
$250, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, God bless entrepreneurship, but that's how they operate. And we just highlight, this is where we try and steer customers away from doing things like that because we have a lot of young tuner owners that want to do those sorts of things here. And we keep them out of, bricking their car and doing stuff like that. So just a little public service announcement, I guess.
Yeah, no, that's great.
Yeah.
Great advice.
The vehicles, honestly, are so much better to work on, to have. Like we actually won't work on gas cars here unless it's like our spouses, if you will. Because we don't want to touch them. Like if you come in our shop, like the air is clean, it's fun to be around. Like it's such a better thing.
So Teslas are known to have greater tire wear than a lot of vehicles. And I was wondering, how much of that wear is the rubber on the rims versus the rubber on the road?
There's two issues with Tesla. The first one is the weight. Those are very heavy vehicles, so they will go through the tires faster. But the other issue is the way they set up the rear suspension and the wheels. Those rear wheels are very cambered, and if you look at the tire wear, it's always on that inside edge where it's cambered. There are aftermarket kits that you can put on to straighten the wheels out, but you're giving up the performance type of thing, and that's a very Tesla-esque problem to have. And given that, like on those Model S and X, it's like $500 roughly per tire. There's a lot of customers that actually just forgo having the aggressive handling and just straighten their wheels out and put the kit on, type of thing. Because that it's a bit of 50% is the way you've aligned it, and the other half is the weight of those cars. But there are expensive tires on those ones, right? For sure.
Do you sell tires as well?
Yeah. Yeah, we have all access to all the maintenance things, including tires.
We just have a few moments left in our call here, so I want to thank you, Sean. Great presentation. Fascinating topic, and thank you for all your insights.